Right, I wasn't planning on doing a video today, no script for this one, but this has done my head in. I need to get my thoughts and feelings out there about Toto Wolff's little outburst about Vegas, right? Basically, one of the reporters said this whole issue around practice, drain cover coming up, damaging Carlos's car, ending FP1, pushing back FP2 was a black eye on the sport, right? A black eye meaning an injury, right? It's not a knockout blow. It's something visible, clearly, right? Damaging to the sport in some way, shape or form. To what extent is up to you, right? And Toto's losing his mind about it. I'm sorry, but for me, this is not the team principal Toto Wolff speaking. This is Toto Wolff, 1/3 owner of Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula 1 team that's valued at 4 billion, and that value is inherently reliant on the value of Formula 1 as a product, and Formula 1 have put hundreds of millions into this event, got this 10-year deal. He's not speaking as a team principal in this moment, right? He's not looking out for the driver. Carlos Sainz could have been seriously hurt by this. Yes, we've had incidents with drain covers before. You learn from the past, right? Let me just try and formulate this a little bit more, because I'm just going all over the place at the minute.
That is not a black eye. This is nothing. We are Thursday night. We have a free practice session 1 that we're not doing. They're going to seal the drain covers, and nobody's going to talk about that tomorrow morning anymore.
I'm sorry, this kind of incident is not the kind of incident that easily gets forgotten about, because it's not just about the drain cover. There were fans in the stands waiting for running. They got 4 minutes of running in FP1 before the incident happened, right, which damaged Sainz and Ocon's car. That ended FP1. They have to push FP2 back because of the timings around the race. That means these fans who came just for practice, which there were many who did, Craig Slater was interviewing them after they were kicked out, they don't get to see anything. Now, yes, this press conference was between FP1 and 2. It was before it was confirmed that no fans were going to be in the stands for FP2. But regardless, to chalk off this as just FP1, this is the first running, the first cars on track to the most anticipated race in years. When have we had a new race on the calendar so highly anticipated? This has been way more than Miami, way more than Zandvoort. It's Vegas, for crying out loud. This was the first run-in. If it's such a small deal for these fans to be out of pocket who've travelled from all across the country to experience Vegas, the cheapest ticket prices being on Thursday practice. Yeah, we just diminish that, forget about that, forget that we're losing an entire FP1 session and pushing FP2 back, so we're back in the bloody COVID days when there's no one watching.
How can you even dare trying to talk bad about an event that sets the new standards to everything?
And then he's like, how can you even dare to try and claim it's a black eye on the sport, and then just completely deflects to, oh, you should be thankful for Liberty Media building and all the people who built this amazing track. You know what? I think the track's looking all right, broadly speaking, but it took 4 minutes for it to fail. It lasted 4 minutes. What are you talking about, man? I'm sorry, this pissed me off so much. This guy's talking completely out of his arse. The new standards. Are you sure? Are you sure, Toto? It lasted 4 minutes.
Then you're speaking about a drain cover that's been undone, that has happened before. That's nothing. It's FP1.
Yes, it's an isolated thing. You can say that. Maybe none of the others would have failed. The fact of the matter is, it did fail. And we didn't get an FP1. And this should not be happening. We've had this in Monaco. We've had this in Baku, right? You learn from those things. You prepare adequately. So you know these cars that generate low pressure beneath and suck onto the ground. They literally suck, these cars. That it doesn't cause a failure in the track in this massive event. There's been all this build-up, all this hysteria, right? And you know what? The pre-event show I thought was pretty good. I think it was a lot better than Miami. But understandably, there's a lot of skepticism amongst the fan base, yeah? And yeah, sure, some people are going to just hate on Vegas out of principle. I understand that. There's a lot of people who will just never be convinced, okay? And I think you have to go into it with a fresh perspective, fresh set of eyes, and give it a try. And I'm trying my best to give it a try. But you can't tell me that this is not a black eye on the sport. Of course it is. It's embarrassing, man.
Give credit to the people that have set up this Grand Prix, that have made this sport much bigger than it ever was. Liberty has done an awesome job.
Liberty has done an awesome job. Yeah, they've grown the sport. That's completely irrelevant to this, Toto. What are you talking about? Why are you just trying to deflect? Accept it. It's happened. It's annoying. It's rubbish. It's not good for F1. It's not a good look for anyone. You're defending the indefensible, okay? It's happened. It's annoying. When it happened at Monaco, it was bad. When it happened at Baku, it's bad. When it's happened at Vegas, it's bad. Accept it. Acknowledge it. There's nothing wrong with that. We've made changes. We got FP2. It ran fine. Good. positive, progress, movement. But you can't just forget what happened. You can't forget that we lost all of FP1. No one's raced here. This track is so green. It's been re-tarmacked, right? So no one's running it. There's no support series on it. There's all this worry about the cold temperatures. There's people finishing the session. The drivers are finishing at 4 in the morning. Martin Brundle, bless his heart, is barely hanging on. Just, oh my God, these cars look so cool. He's like half falling asleep by the sides. I mean, I guess the one thing for me, I got to watch FP2 because I didn't have to get up super early. So actually it was, selfishly, I was all right. You're a team principal first and foremost. That should be your priority, I'm sorry, right? He does own a third of this team. Not many team principals actually have ownership of their team. Do any of them? I don't think they do. I think Toto is the only one. This is not a team principal speaking.
The car is broken. That's really a shame. For Carlos, it could have been dangerous. So between the FIA and the track, and everybody needs to analyze how we can make sure that this is not happening again.
And then he's like, oh, it's a shame that Carlos's car is broken. It could have been really dangerous. Yes, it could have been really dangerous. This is part of the problem. This is why people... It's not only that it ended loads of running time, right, and the fans got to miss out. That's crazy dangerous. That could have been so much worse, right? You look at the damage it caused to Carlos's car. There's a CCTV perspective of Carlos, the back of it just... and it blew out the engine, and he's had to take a penalty, which I think is nonsense as well, but I can't be asked to talk about that. Would he have the same energy if this was Lewis or George's car? Honestly, really. Fred Vasseur was rightly pissed as well, and when Tom Clarkson tried to move on to more positive stuff about Vegas, he was like, no, I'm annoyed. I don't really want to talk about that right now. That's a team principal speaking, who's focused primarily on the sport and delivering for Ferrari on track. Toto is not... He's too focused on Liberty and the product and all that because he wants to keep the value of his Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 team high and the value of Formula 1 high, and he doesn't want it to look silly because it will hurt him in the bank. I'm sorry, this is the way I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, I'm just taking what I see in. But this has really wound me up, as you can tell.
But talking here about the black eye for the sport on a Thursday evening, nobody watches that in European time anyway. Come on.
And then he completely destroys any credit in his argument by just saying, oh, nobody watches European time anyway. I've got a lot of respect for Toto Wolff, right? What he's achieved with Mercedes, what he's built with that team over the years, and his tenure at Williams beforehand, right? There's a lot to be said for Toto Wolff. And generally speaking, I think he's pretty much on the ball. But this, for me, this is a shocker. He's had an absolute stinker here. And I've got to call him out on him. I don't know if you lot feel the same. Maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe let me know in the comments below. Like, I'm annoyed because I just don't feel he's being genuine. I think he's sitting in there in a team principal kind of meeting and he's not giving a team principal perspective. I think he's giving a business owner perspective on Formula 1 and just trying to cover it over and make, oh, it's not so bad. And then he gets all riled up and has a go at these journos for it, like for making very, very valid points that it seems like 90% of the fan base are in agreement that this has been a terrible start to the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And hopefully it's a lot better, right, going forward. This is not how we wanted it to start. And I think he'll look back on this and be a bit embarrassed with how he went about himself because this ain't it. I'm going to chuck a quick little edit on this. That's me done. My name's Tommo. Thanks again. Have a good one.